And we're live. Welcome to Following the Orville with Oddmusings, Brett and Scott. Finally.
Yes.
It took a while. Here's Scott for you guys. There he is. Yes, we need to figure something else for you, though, on this thing instead of your Cintiq.
I'm sorry?
We need to get you a real computer going instead of the Cintiq.
Yeah. Well, this is my setup for now. They need to get the phones to work so I can have my proper setup.
Yeah, well, you know, we'll see how that goes.
They'll get there. Right now, it sounds like they have it working. What we want to do works if we had Apples.
Well, that's for Facebook Live. We're on the YouTube side. For some reason, the Google Hangout wouldn't do it with the streaming through the YouTube.
Right.
So
now you get this upward view of me instead.
Yep. So let me show our quick logo here because we've got our screen there. See if it shows up for you. It's Following the Orville, a fan show talking about the latest episode of the Orville.
Yes.
Yes, that's going to be awesome. So this is something we're going to try to do every week here. Stopping the share there and see if I can come back. And there I am.
Now quick question, Brett.
Yes.
We're new to this, so bear with us, people who are listening. Is the link to this shared on our page?
You know what? It was. We may have to update that link. So let me do that right now. In fact, I can see if I can do it from here. Here we go. I got a link here. Copy that. And I should go into the Facebook there, guys, and do that. So as we're doing that, Scott, what did you think about tonight's episode?
Tonight's episode was great. Tonight was episode 4 of the first season of the Orville. And it's titled "If the Stars Should Appear," and it had some really it just like the previous episodes. This one harkens back to some old style Star Trek tale telling.
Yep. Well, and that's one thing I liked about it too was the aspect that it was very Star Trek-y on this, exploring something strange and new. And then like something else, it was just trying to actually help these people. That's what always Star Trek was trying to help people.
Yeah, well, even to the point though, like in the original series, it's like every time they went down to a planet, it turned out to be some old Earth civilization. Like they showed up in World War II, they showed up in a Western, and that's what this episode did. It was like a Western feel. They even had that similarity going.
Yeah, I do find it. One thing I like about this show is while they're, they got a lot of cool tech and stuff like that. The thing I find neat is that it's the backlot stuff of Universal or Paramount or wherever they're filming this at, Fox, and you can kind of see that too, where it's the buildings. It had one corner they used today for this city, so
right. And just like also like with the whole storytelling aspect of it, what I find interesting too is it's just the overall feel of the show. It's I was watching a little bit earlier today an interview with Seth MacFarlane talking about how much thought and time they put into the sets, the ships, all those kind of things, because they felt that was just as important as good writing and everything else to create the feel. Yes. What he was saying is he himself, because the whole argument of people are like, is this a parody? Isn't it? Seth MacFarlane himself says, this is not a parody, he says. He was a big fan of old-time sci-fi where the future was hopeful.
Yes.
And everything was bright, hopeful, and there was positive messages. And nowadays in sci-fi, everything has a dystopian, depressing feel to it. And even with Star Trek Discovery, all the sets are dark. Everything is darkened it's to change the mood. And he said the purpose of the Orville is to fill that void that used to be filled and no longer is. So
I agree on that. I think it's definitely filling a void I was missing from not having a good Star Trek show on.
Exactly. And that's what this show gives me, is that hope. And what I love about it is, like this particular episode, for instance, just like the previous one, it takes a very interesting topic. On the surface, it was basically a blind faith religion versus science type debate. you know, you had people who followed blindly their belief system, and the Orville coming from a science background, trying to tell these people what's going on, and why they're using their faith to kind of enforce authority. But they do it in a way that didn't insult true religions,
right?
Which just like in the previous episode, they very fairly presented both sides of the argument, and they did it in a way that allows the viewer to decide what side of the argument they prefer or don't prefer, or maybe they're a mix of both, or they're undecided and need to decide. But they don't force you to take a side, which I really like on that.
Correct.
Yeah. Also, what about these the guest appearances here? Holy moly, Liam Neeson. When I turned on the bridge, that message at the end, and we find out he's Drawl, he should have been like, "I don't know who you are or why you're on my ship, but I'll hunt you down.
I have a perfectly set of skills here, and I'm going to get you."
I have a set of skills that are useless in fixing the engines.
Well, that got me too, though. I mean, we'll get into more of the episode, but you got the robot character. He's like, okay, I can fix this in 24 hours. It's like, wait a minute, you've been drifting for how long?
Well, they've been drifting for 2,000 years, but remember, he has 2,000 years more of advanced knowledge also, and tools. But
well, I mean, that is true. I mean, it's true, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I mean, I can understand. They broke down, they're like, okay, we're just kind of letting things happen, and the next thing you know, they forget they're on a ship and they're living in this, world that's built in this ship, which was really cool.
Right. Well, the cool thing about that too, though, is in any society, they always say you're only one generation away of forgetting your past. If
right.
It's the job of each generation to pass on what they know. So, and after 2,000 years, things could get lost in the shuffle. I could see that. There was also, let's see. So we had this stuff going on in the ship. Another guest appearance, though, which may have been overlooked, was Hemlock himself. I don't know if you noticed who that was. Robert Nepper.
Yes. Yeah, Robert Nepper. He's done a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and he's best known, at least in my household, as Teabag from Prison Break. And he's a great character actor. And I thought, going back to the whole idea of Seth MacFarlane stressing this is not a parody, it was pretty intense between Hemlock and Kelly, where she's being tortured, and there was some serious stuff going on there.
Well, what neat about this was usually we see, like in the original Star Trek, be like Captain Kirk most of the time would be captured and tortured, right, and he'd save himself. And this time we had basically Kirk's wife,
right,
which is Captain Ed Mercer's wife, Kelly Grayson, Commander Kelly Grayson. Did I lose you, Scott? I think we lost Scott for a minute here. Is he back?
I'm here.
All right.
Must be a break in the signal or something. I show strong signal. If you
but you're on that. You're on a tablet though.
Yeah. If you lose me, just keep talking.
I will. Don't worry. But yeah, I mean, it's with you being on a tablet, I know we're gonna run some problems. We'll be working on this. If everybody's watching this, we get better, hopefully. And if someone wants to sponsor us, we could use a lot of money to make it really good.
Oh yeah, then we can buy good equipment. And or participate in our Patreon, and you can help us that way too. Patreon.com/Oddmusings.
Yes. And the more we get in that, add more shows for the regular show, and then hopefully do more things like this.
Yep. Then also, in addition to what was going on the Biosphere ship,
yep,
we have the events on the Orville itself, where Bortus is in command over there, and they're waiting, and this distress call comes, and they have to go, save that team. But what I found funny was the opening. Once again, we get into Bortus's home life, and his partner, what was his name? I forgot his name.
It's Clyden.
Yes, Clyden. Thank you.
Yes.
He's like,
Clyden,
you're working too much, and I need more affection.
Well, You know, the thing I found really cool about this is the ongoing storyline is about Bortus and Clyden, and it's about their relationship as it impacts the ship. Because if you listen to everybody saying, they all talked about relationships. This was a relationship-heavy show dealing with the original marriage of Captain Ed Mercer to Commander Kelly Grayson. I'm going to shut this down so in case it does flip back and forth. So let me see if it does that. Here we go. I'm presenting to everyone. Yay! And then you can present to everyone. Yay! So we're still playing around with the technology, guys. But I mean, that's what the thing was. It was about these relationships. Everybody kept mainly talking about the captain and the commander, wanting to know about their relationship, why it didn't work, speculation, stuff like that. And realistically, I think this was all subtle undertones dealing with Bortus and Clyden, and hopefully we're not going to see them break up because I think they are the it couple of the series. So you know, there's a lot of cool things there.
But I think there was also, if I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I might be speculating too much. But when Alara was talking to Kelly and they're walking together, and Alara keeps asking Kelly a lot of questions about Captain Ed Mercer, and I got the feeling like she might have a little crush going on the captain.
I think so. I think there's a little bit there. So yeah, we got something going on.
That'll be interesting to see if they go that direction at all. Because she was, as she was saying, you know, being the strongest person on the ship, she's having all the males feel intimidated, but the one that isn't intimidated by it.
Well, and you know, and while she asked questions too, it was funny though how everybody kept asking about the relationship, why didn't it work? And they kind of teased like, well, maybe because they injected her with that truth serum, although she was in more pain than anything, we were going to learn some more truth. But she did admit that she made a mistake by sleeping with that alien in the first episode.
Right. Yep, definitely that. And then let's see here. Yep. I took a couple other notes. Another appearance in this episode, while it wasn't a major part. The Krill were back. They were the alien species that were in episode 1 that were trying to steal that time accelerator so that we no longer had to fear salad. But they were the alien race trying to steal that. So once again, we've seen the Orville now encounter them again.
Yeah. Oh, we got a comment from Beyond News on our thing saying she liked the captain. And that, so...
Nice. Welcome aboard, Beyond News.
So, let me just welcome them on here with the thing. And if you go to the page too, Scott, you can always comment there as well under YouTube. And
I can pull it up on my phone.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing here, though, 4th episode in, we've been learning about these characters quite rapidly, and what I like is that we're getting more and more into the dynamics of different things, and the fact that you know, it's not all about the relationship between the captain, but they still want to resolve that issue, and it sounds to me like they're trying to let everybody know this is eventually what happened and where they're at and stuff. So who knows what's going to happen with that, if they're going to continue on more. But I'm glad they're not harping on the same things, and it's not the same relationship from the 1st episode to the 4th. We're seeing them actually work better together as a team, as part of the ship. Right.
And then let's see here. The development of, well, there's so many different crew members. Oh, I don't know the character's name, but the blob, the little gelatinous blob too.
Norm McDonald. That was Norm McDonald.
It's cool. He's like trying to hit on the doctor, and that didn't work. So now he's just got to go hang out with his tube of toothpaste.
Well, I found that funny. I like though that we got 2 guest stars in some way. We got Liam Neeson, got Norm Macdonald on this episode. Next week we get Charlize Theron.
Teabag, don't forget.
And who?
Teabag. Robert Neptune was on.
Right, and he was you know, an integral part of the episode. Of course, he was kind of the heavy bad guy. Of course, at the end when they saw the stars, and that it was more of you know, he's like, oh, guess what? I guess you know, I kind of thought it was true. It really is, and so we'll see what happens. You know, it was kind of it's one of those happy endings where we didn't have to see everything was fixed. It was like, yeah, we're gonna send somebody to teach you guys how to run your ship, and then you're on your own, which is kind of how they feel. They're more sentient on that.
Because the show is a little lighthearted and a little bit more comedy too, it doesn't require, like, for instance, if this was a hardcore show, it'd be, you know, the reality of them suddenly bringing night. These people are in 24-hour daylight for all of eternity, as far as they know, and all of a sudden the sky disappears. There'd probably be mass chaos and panic.
Well, and I kind of thought it would be, but of course, to make it easier, they had to, you know, end it, you know, and say, "Hey, we're happy."
Right, exactly. So, but it works for the show because it is lighthearted. It's not meant to be, you know, super detailed.
Yeah.
Once again,
and I've like, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
To say is this one thing I like about the show is it's lighthearted. The humor's light. You've got some fun little things like, you know, him calling the guy a dick and then sending the information to the robot there to say, you know, hey, this is what it is. He's like, oh, okay, it's a compliment.
That was funny. I like that also. And then
yeah.
you started today, but we got sidetracked there. Next week's guest star.
Yeah, Charlize Theron, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, they're getting some heavy hitters on here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's what we're going to see. I mean, Seth MacFarlane's got friends in the industries. So it's hopefully we're going to see more and more of this, and that may help draw some of the viewers in.
Right.
You know, Beyond News just said he loves the show, or she did. Just worried about ratings. They don't want it to get canceled. Critics been bad-mouthing it. You know, so Scott, what do you think about that?
Well, you know, I think the critical part was they were bad-mouthing it. But, you know, I'm in a couple fan forums. I'm even in a bunch of Star Trek fan forums, and the fan base is loving Orville. As we talked about in the last episode 21 of Oddmusings, we covered this a little bit, but, you know, it really comes down to, it's a division between what vision of Star Trek you prefer. Do you like the newer J.J. Abrams type feel and world and theology in Star Trek? Or do you prefer the old school Roddenberry? And because the Orville, very smartly, they've hired, I'm forgetting the gentleman's name, but he worked on Next Generation and those series, and he worked directly with Roddenberry. So he knows the feel of the world. Plus, we have Jonathan Frakes working on both Orville and Discovery. And he knows that world.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a huge plus, and I think we're getting. I mean, it's getting a lot of support from different areas that people may not realize is industry support. I mean, critics are critics.
The biggest issue with ratings I see with
and Scott's kind of blanked out for a second there.
Am I back yet?
Yeah, you're back. You're back. So you started to say something about the critics and stuff. Go ahead.
So I think it took a slight bump in the beginning because of the critical review. Episode 2, I thought, I don't know if the ratings went up or down there, but I felt it was a better episode. And when I was watching the fan forums, the fan base seemed to like it more. Episode 3, they changed nights, and I think a lot of people didn't shift nights. So I'm curious to see what the ratings will be tonight now that it's the second week in a row for a Thursday.
Well, and I think that's part of it too. Now they are kind of going up against football, and we're not going to get into any discussions on anything with football on this show here.
Right.
But that could still be a detractor from it. But I think it's still better than Sunday night when it would be trying to follow football and maybe get pushed to later. So this is better, you know.
Even against football, this is Thursday night, so it's not like they're going against Monday Night Football, which has the biggest ratings for football.
Correct. It's Thursday night, and it doesn't always have that good of a ratings on that.
And we do have Gotham in front of it, so that helps take the more of the Comic-Con type fan into the show. Also, I think it's a good lead-in into the Orville.
Right. I was looking to see ratings here, so I pulled up for last week's, and it looks like last week they saw Fox's Gotham have a 1.0/4, so it's a small ratings on this right now. It was 1.1 for the Orville debuting its regular slot. Of course, now this week is I keep on spec choice. This week is premiere week, so maybe people weren't paying attention last week that the show actually started. So now it's maybe pick up again. I think it's definitely
in the fan forums. to me, it feels like the energy is increasing for Orville. There's costuming groups that are popping up. I'm part of a couple of Orville prop groups already that they're analyzing the details of all the costumes because they want to start cosplaying already. So that's a good sign. I haven't seen anybody really excited to cosplay as the Discovery crew yet. So, but I'm seeing it all over the place for Orville.
Well, yeah, it is. And I was kind of, we talked about this earlier this week. I was really looking at the costumes thinking, man, I kind of wouldn't mind to have that jacket. And if you look at the pants, it's a black type slack with a blue piping or red piping, depending on the color of the uniform. And so it looks like a not too difficult of a costume to make. And I think this is where it's going to have to, the fan base is going to have to really become kind of rabid, or else we're going to have another Firefly in our hands where people love the 13 episodes they got. And right now on IMDb, it only lists that 13 episodes that they've got so far. So if we want more, we need to have the fan base to get a little more vocal. And Firefly couldn't do this because 15 years ago, the internet wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
Well, my bet will be Orville will outlast Discovery.
Well, I'm hoping so. The difference is financial backing.
Yeah. Hopefully they both last.
Well, no, realistically it does. Yeah, that's what I'm wanting myself. So,
but here, we were just talking about costumes. I pulled it up real quick. The costume designer for the Orville, his name is Joseph Porro, Porro, and let's see. I guess he's this well-known costume designer, and he's best known for never wearing the same outfit twice.
Okay.
Because he works on a show where everyone wears the same outfit.
He makes his own.
Everyone wears the same outfit every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. Oh yeah, also on the at the beginning of the episode tonight too, with the whole fight, I love that the Clygan, what was his name again?
Clyden, I believe. Yes, I got to put on my list of characters. It's funny they don't say their names enough, so we're still learning all the names.
Yeah, he's like
Clyden.
I heard of comfort food. What food do you recommend? And it ended up being Rocky Road ice cream.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he wants something like that, and then what does he do? He sits down and he wants to watch something that makes him happy, and what makes him happy? The sound of music.
Yes.
But that kind of leads to what we've talked about even off this show really pulls from things we know currently as pop culture and doesn't make it like, that's the only thing with Star Trek that, they don't talk about anything really from the past unless they've gone and visited like in some of the movies, where here we've got references to TV shows, movies. I like the fact that a lot of slang is still continued on. I mean, when they're calling each other a dick, it's, kind of a popular thing. And of course, now they get away with that on network television, so that's why we're hearing it more.
Right. Yeah. So, another interesting thing I found, now I didn't notice this, maybe you did. Alara herself, she's the super strong female on the group. What I didn't realize is they changed her from episode 1 to episode 2, and now she's been keeping the look consistent. She had no eyebrows, and some of the face makeup was actually different, the prosthetics, and they did it a little bit in her eyebrow. So I found that interesting, that they're making her a little more human. I don't know if that's the pilot did well enough and they're like, we got to make changes to the makeup because it was too hard to put on, or is it we're trying to humanize her a little more to set her up for some relationship type episodes? I don't know.
It's possible. On a quick side note, though, I want to acknowledge Beyond News. So the composer for the theme was also the one that did the Sequest DSV composing on that, which also had a very next generation feel to it for a series. So
yeah, that was with Roy Schneider.
Yeah, Roy Schneider. Now, Beyond News also that Seth.
I was thinking Rob Schneider when I said Roy for some reason. I said Roy, but I thought I said Rob. That's why
my name. So, yeah. Well, Beyond News said that Seth made it easier. So we're going to talk about Alara there. Made it easier for her because you don't want a whole lot of makeup stuff on, with some of these shows. It takes a lot of time getting them going, and plus the fact that she's kind of a cute girl, and I think they're going to play that cuteness up a lot more as we go on. Because they talked about she had a relationship with the guy, didn't work out because she could basically beat him with her pinky. So
Beyond News was able to confirm it was due to the makeup process.
Yeah, he said Seth said something said that on Twitter. So
Okay.
that must have been something they talked about. I didn't do it, but they did have a tweet the cast during the episode. So they're trying to get the fans involved, you know, and stuff like that. And Vandu says she's young. Yeah, Laura is young. She's only like 22, I think, or something like that. She's really young.
Houston Sage. I follow her on Instagram, actually. She does a lot of posting on there.
Yeah. Oh, she's 24. Sorry, I made her younger than what she is. So, yeah, she's been around. I remember seeing her in a few different things here and there, like Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. She was really good in that. Goosebumps.
Oh wait, who was she in that one?
Well, in Goosebumps, she was Taylor.
No, I mean Scout's Guide.
She was Kendall Grant.
Huh.
So I want to say
I remember her in that.
I want to say she might have been the if she wasn't the I thought she was the girl. She was the girlfriend, I think, or the guy that liked the girl. I think that was the girl he liked.
Oh,
so was the other guy's sister. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so, cool.
Yeah. So I know I'd seen her around a little bit too, in that, and you know, it's a good thing to keep ones around. So
yeah. And then you said Goosebumps also. I remember her in that now. I didn't realize it was her in there, but now that you say it, I do remember that.
Yeah. So
very cool.
But yeah, so I mean, a lot of cool stuff on the episode. I like the dynamics we're getting between the characters. They're building more on these relationships, and it's starting to feel more and more that the crew is really coming together. And 4 episodes in, and it already feels actually a little bit better than season 1 of Next Generation in some ways with the cast and crew. They're really gelling really good.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, I agree. I'm looking forward to more. I think I can feel that the cast is starting to gel more.
Yes.
And the chemistry is building. I think the writers are getting better and as these episodes go on and they find that voice for the show as a whole, I think we're going to be very happy.
Yep. Of course, I think my favorite part of the whole episode was Lamar after he blows up the Krill ship and he just jumps. I was like, "Yeah, take that, you son of a bitch!" Yeah. So that's one of the things I like about the show. They act out a little bit. They do things like we would. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're not robots.
Right. Yeah, and like we had mentioned,
Isaac.
Isaac. Yeah. Isaac cracks me up too. I like Isaac a lot. Because he ends up being that deadpan humor, the character who doesn't quite know what's going on, but still he's the smartest one on the ship.
Yeah, and he is the Data character. He sounds like Data. It's not Data, but yeah, he is Sheldon. And the neat thing is he's trying to explore human condition, and in some ways it helps us to explain different things between people, like the relationship between the commander and the captain, and other stuff as it goes on. And I think that's going to be an integral part of the narrative and the storytelling.
I agree. Cool. So next week's we got episode 5, which will be like we said, Charlize Theron. I never know how to say her name.
Charlize Theron. Theron. It's like in Harry Potter. Yeah, it's like in Harry Potter. It's Leviosa.
What are you saying?
Well, you keep interrupting me, but it's like when you try to say different things. Like I was joking, it's like in Harry Potter, like no, it's Leviosa. It's Charlize Theron.
On that note,
so if this show's a hit, do you think we're gonna get some cool toys?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Honestly, the type of fan base they're going after, if they do anything like that, you'd have to make it like a more high-end toy. I don't think it'd be a show that kids are collecting toys on. But I could see them doing some kind of
like some toys.
Yeah? There you go. You answered your own question.
Well, I think it'd be kind of cool. I mean, it's like with any show or anything that's a property, they always have product come out. And I mean, yeah. So I'd like to see more, because I really do like this show a lot. And it's like Beyond News saying that you feel connected and familiar with the characters already. I mean, that's something we definitely hit on, and we talked about this off the air before, last week, even after the episode, because I was in Cincinnati last week and we couldn't have done this. We did the regular Facebook Live. But this is a show that I think that if they give it a true chance, they need to renew it for a second season. They need to give it a chance to really build the audience up and go from there. I mean, there's shows that people talk about today that are just huge hits. They go, it was the greatest thing since day one. Well, Seinfeld wasn't. It didn't have the ratings, but they brought it back and became this monster hit. Give it a chance to really get it out there.
Well, my personally, I'm not worried about that. If anything sinks the show, it will be budget. It won't be ratings, I don't think. It's just a matter of, because sci-fi shows like this can be very expensive to produce. And a lot of times networks start, depending on ratings on other things, they have to decide what shows they're going to invest their money in and things like that. And personally, I don't think that's going to be an issue. But if there is an issue in the shows canceling, I think it'll be budget, just because those are expensive episodes.
Well, I agree with that, but I do like the fact that a lot of these shows, the episodes we've had so far, the Orville, have been more practical sets, practical locations, outdoor locations. Mm-hmm. So they're getting off the stages. I don't know how much of their stuff is green screen outside of the normal, stuff you're going to see. But a lot of stuff they're doing, it seems they've got the models already set for the ships. They're doing a lot of stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, when I watched that interview with Seth MacFarlane, they were showing them building the bridge and everything, the interiors of the ship. So it looks like it's pretty much a full set. And then you got the green screen where the view screens are for the main view screen that up. But otherwise, it looks like it's mostly practical sets.
Well, and that's what it seems to be. And then I haven't worried about transporter, even though that was we talked about on Oddmusings a little bit and yesterday about how that was used strictly for budgetary concerns. They couldn't do the shuttle, and now we're seeing them use the shuttle, and you can tell there's a lot of CGI with the attaching the couplings and things like that. But everything else is all these practical sets they're able to build around it. And then, of course, like today's episode, they get on the ship, and, well, it's a biosphere type ship, and they're walking out into the, looks like the real world. Now they do have to add in the sky and stuff like that, but hopefully stuff like that keeps the cost down. And they're limiting the, we had those on the bridge, and then we had those on the away team, and they're limiting the numbers on that. So I think of course, they're low budget now because they're just starting off, but there's things that they can do like that to continue on that would keep the costs down. Hopefully, and that just can't let the cast get too out of control in terms of size.
Yep. I agree with that. Well, the nice thing about a show like this is when people ask for a salary, you just put them in a red shirt and kill them off.
Well, I mean, they've already set up regular red jersey or the coats or whatever they wear, so they need to come up with something that's who dies off in this one. It was red shirts in the original Star Trek. Next Generation, they gave them almost all of them red most of the time, so they couldn't kill them all off.
See, that's where and actually, I don't think they'll go that way, only because I think Seth really wants to keep this away from becoming a true parody. I think he wants this to be able to stand on its own two legs moving forward. This is his baby, and I think he really wants it to work and be its own thing.
Yeah, I'm really hoping it does, because it's of all the stuff he's done, this is my favorite thing so far. Yep. I enjoyed Family Guy for a while. I enjoyed some of his other shows. I enjoyed the Ted movies and stuff like that. But I like what he's doing here, because he's bringing back some classic sci-fi type storytelling that I grew up on, and it's a lot more fun to watch than some other stuff that's out there. I like Discovery, so I'm not trying to badmouth Discovery when I say that, because Discovery's a wholly different animal and that. But I can't watch any more Discovery right now because I don't have the CBS app. But the Orville, I can watch it every week, and I definitely want to keep supporting this show because I think it's something that needs to be supported. Right.
Yep.
So
that's everything I have on this episode.
Well, I think it was a fun episode. I laughed several times. I like that the humor is not completely just toilet humor. I mean, I don't mind him calling the guy a dick or something. He said it throughout the whole episode, and it became a running gag. So you've got a little bit of data type feel.
To me, the level of humor is real humor that people have in everyday conversation. It's not over the top toilet humor. It's funny banter people have in day-to-day life.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Beyond News is getting ready to sign off here with us too. And he said he can't wait. He's going to check back with us, see if we're around again. We need more fans. Yes, we do. So tell your friends, share that. We're going to try to do this around 10 o'clock after the episode every week when we're available. As few as we should be.
And if Beyond News could send us their link, we'll gladly share it too.
We'll share it. I'm doing that right now. Yep. Yeah, it says okay. And then I like that. Yeah, normal. Yes, normal work humor. That's a great way to put it. Normal work humor, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. And So hopefully we get some more people like Beyond News joining us every week that are liking the show. For those that are watching the replay on this, because this will be up on our YouTube channel, we're going to be leaving this up there for everybody to watch. It's going to be after 10 o'clock Eastern time. So if you are Central Time, you can tune in at 9 o'clock. If you're Mountain or West on the West Coast, guess what? Don't tune in until afterwards because it's much more to see. If you haven't seen the episode, we don't want to spoil anything for you guys until you get a chance to watch it when it airs on your times and that. But I think this is a good thing for us as Odd Musings is kind of do this following the Orville. That's what we're calling this show. It's called Following the Orville with Odd Musings. Brett and Scott. I'm Brett.
And I'm Scott.
So, Scott, any parting words?
No, just I'm excited for where this goes. Looks like it's a 13-episode season based on what I'm seeing on IMDb. I'm guessing they ordered a half season, and maybe we'll get a second half. What do you think, Brett?
Well,
13 episodes is small for a network.
It is small. It's a good starting point with a show like this. And there's other shows that Fox has done this with. They brought back to a second season. They didn't last more than 3 or 4 seasons, some of them did, but I think it's because of the rating on those shows, like Sleepy Hollow. 13 episodes the first season, decent ratings, came back the second year, and it kind of lost some of the audience because they changed everything at that point. But I think with Seth MacFarlane at the helm, they're going to keep a lot of the same things going on and continue to build upon that because he's a pretty good helmsman for a lot of these shows, and not just because he's captain of the Orville, of course,
Very true. Cool.
Well, like I said,
let's wrap it up.
Yep, this is Following the Orville with Brett, and of course, that's Scott again right there. And you can tune in live. Go to oddmusings.com. That's ODDMUSINGS.com. You can listen to our podcast live at 10 a.m. Eastern time, or you can tune into our Facebook page. So right now we're still doing them live on the Facebook page. That's facebook.com/oddmusings, and we stream that from 10 a.m. until 11 on Eastern time. Rest of the times you have to figure it out and do the math yourself. We always put the replays up leave them up on the Facebook. We put them up here on YouTube. So make sure if you're watching this, you haven't subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to build this up so we continue to get the audience going. And last but not least, don't forget to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/oddmusings. And that's going to help us build our regular show up. And eventually we'll help build shows like this up for you guys. And hopefully you enjoy it. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Scott, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
do 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 do.